Assalamu alaikum wa barakatuh. Here I am in Malacca, Malaysia, and down there behind me is Famosa, I believe, which is an old British and Dutch like fortress from their colonial conquests. And then over here behind me is the ruins of what is called, to my knowledge here, is St. Paul's Church. And there's some interesting lessons here, I think, to be learned. The first is that, we all know colonialism is evil, but what's kind of interesting to me as I read some of the history around here is that this fortress in the background there, it was built with destroyed palaces, mosques, and mausoleums. So, these people came here and literally just demolished mosques, demolished mausoleums of the dead to build a stupid fortress. It just shows how barbaric and intolerant these people were. The British and the Dutch colonialists, just no regard, no respect for culture or heritage. They're racist, destructive people. And what's interesting is that this church originally was a Catholic church, and then when the British turned it over to the Dutch, they turned it into a Protestant church. So they're so intolerant that they can't even tolerate each other's churches. It's just ridiculous. The whole entire colonial project is so ridiculous. It's so full of evil. I also found that under these colonial people, under their rule or whatever, this entire port became fallen into disarray, not used anymore really. And the Dutch were surprised when they took over how little used it is and how little commercial activity was happening anymore. They just came and they just destroyed economies. Now when I read Islamic history, it's always the opposite. Where Muslims go, they usually most people's first contact with Muslims is merchants and traders. And these merchants and traders, they tend to enrich a people. They enrich a society. They grow the economy. They promote and spread religious tolerance. They promote and spread culture and cultural flourishing and religious understanding. They tend, if they settle in, they tend to adopt and mix with the local culture rather than try to supplant it and erase it like the Europeans do. They also were not racist. They themselves are every ethnicity, and racism is against Islam. It's satanic, quite literally. And part of the lesson of the fall of Satan is that your station with God has nothing to do with your race. It has to do with your taqwa. Your arrogance will actually lead you to the fire. It will not lead you anywhere good. And also in the Prophet's last sermon, he said, no Arab is better than a non-Arab, and no non-Arab is better than an Arab except by piety, except by taqwa. And no white is better than a black, no black is better than a white except by piety. So, there's many lessons to be learned here, and I think that, the beauty of coming to a place like Malaysia is surrounding me, there's mosques everywhere. There's also churches that are actively used, not just ruined churches of colonial tyrants, but real churches. There's a Sikh temple down the road. There's Hindu temples. There's there's almost every major religion here still operating. And we didn't go and demolish them to build fortresses or convert each other's churches into different types of churches or anything. It's only the colonial European history where you see this type of character and behavior. And after the fall of colonial powers, now you see the revival of economic activity here, revival of trade. The ports are open, and even still to this day, Malaysian ports and the Strait of Malacca is still a hub for international shipping and trade to this day. Another example too is that reminds me in Islamic history is when was India at its height of economic activity, and that was under the Mughal Empire, the Islamic Empire. They held just shy of a quarter of the entire world GDP under the Mughal Empire. That was India. It's one of the most powerful economies in the world. That's when the British arrived, the East India Company. They came, they lied, they eventually divided and conquered. And what happened just 2 centuries later, it fell to like 3%, 3 to 4% of world GDP. They lost everything. They lost everything, you know. They destroyed the place. And even on their way out in the 1920s, they were still trying to divide Hindus and Muslims, get people to fight each other. Gandhi was never like that. Read Gandhi's life. He was united with Muslims. He was united with all religions against oppression, against apartheid. It's the thing that every religion we can all join hands and fight against. This is colonialism, oppression, poverty, enslavement. You know, the abolitionist movement should not have ended in America. It needs to continue until it finishes, until America and the Western world stop colonizing the world with their banks and finances, and you know, just read Confessions of an Economic Hitman by John Perkins, and you know what I'm talking about. Abolitionism is not over with. We still have work to do in ending all of this brutality and colonialism. It still exists. It's maybe not as nasty in some ways, but there's, you know, we all know what's going on in Palestine, these genocidal activities. You know, it's still going on, and our work is not finished. So, you know, when you visit these sites, I think take the lesson, inshallah, if you can. You know, may Allah grant us all the lesson. I don't really like coming here, personally. My wife's family kind of took me here. I decided to go and look briefly, but you know, take the lesson. You know, take the lesson. You know, if you want to travel, then travel. If you want to come and do business in a halal way, in a way that is win-win, like Stephen Covey's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Colonialism was based on the idea that we win as much as we can and you lose as much as you can. It was based on win-lose, that you destroy others and try to steal and take as much as you can. That's all colonialism was. You can look it up and research it, this idea of their wicked ideas of colonial, you know, twisting of mercantilism, basically. But rather, you know, what is the halal way? What is God's way? Allah's way is you come, you bring peace. It's the first thing we always say, Assalamu alaikum, you bring peace. You want to do business, you do business. You want to trade, you trade. You want to build, you build. Even today, people build churches here. People build mosques here. People build Sikh temples here. It's like almost every religion here, right? We don't go demolish each other's stuff. We don't go, you know, if you want to engage in intellectual debate, you want to engage in theological discussions, go right ahead, that's fine, but you don't bring a gun. You know, you bring an open heart, okay, you bring God's light. That's what it's about. So I think that it's a very good thing to see the way Malaysia is now. Now they're building not only their country, they're building museums, they're building a very beautiful country. And when you come here, you notice an incredible level of harmony between all the different types of people here. It's a lot more harmonious than it is in America or any Western country, where people are still touting some of these wicked ideas, pointing fingers at each other, giving billions of dollars to military-industrial complexes to shoot missiles at farmers on the other side of the world, without batting an eye, right? Dropping bombs on poor people, you know, it's just like, it's ridiculous. You know, in America, we outgrew our mosque. We literally outgrew the building code. We couldn't hold Friday prayers anymore because it was too much for the building code. As our community was growing, we went and bought a location down the road and started building a new mosque. And even the government kept giving us nonsense, telling us to change our building plans and all these things. It was just intentionally messing us up to stop and increase the cost of our construction and so on, just because they hated us. This guy just came and hated us. He's racist, he's a spiteful person. And finally I called the city government of Fort Worth, and the guy said, you know, I take his complaint seriously. He got rid of the guy. Our construction was swiftly completed. You know, so alhamdulillah, there are still people in America who are evil, and there are still people in America who have come around to their senses, right? So find the good and work together. Good people and work together. Don't listen to bad things. Don't listen to propaganda that's evil about other people. You know, categorically, you know, trying to convince you that entire people are categorically evil. You know, it doesn't exist. There's no such thing as a categorically evil people. You know, they're just manipulators. So don't fall for them. So don't fall for them, right? They come and enjoy Malaysia, this land of peace, the land of beauty, pluralism, tolerance, and by the way, it's very nearly an Islamic state. The only reason it isn't is because the British did not allow them to in their constitution, so they had to change one sentence. It's one line away from being a fully fledged Islamic state. Even still, there's Sharia courts here, there's Sharia lawyers, there's Sharia judges, there's muftis. Has all the apparatus of an Islamic state. It's just in their constitution, there's one line the British would not give them. So the decolonization of this land is nearly complete. It's one sentence away. It's been an Islamic state for over 600 years, you know, so these people are free, should be free to be a fully fledged Islamic state if they want to be. That is my opinion, and if you think that's bad, well, look how great it is now. It's better than any other country. I won't say any other country. It's better than any Western country in terms of its tolerance, in terms of its freedoms, in terms of its religious and ethnic harmony. You know, there's no race. I don't see any racism here. You know, I'm sure it exists everywhere, but not nearly on the level of America. You know, we're 20,000 homicide people die. 20,000 people die a year from homicides in America. Look how violent that country is. This country is a fraction of that. Same thing with Australia, but you know, as a whole, this country is superior to every Western country, in my opinion. It's far more tolerant. It's far more pluralistic. It's a very beautiful place, and I'm very impressed by it. The Malays are extremely intelligent people. Mahathir, or whatever his flaws are, he did an amazing job dealing with post-colonialism here. So I send all of Malay people a personal thank you. I've had a great time staying here. I'm an American Muslim convert, and I feel it's like a big relief to live in a place like this compared to America. There's so much freedom. It's so easy to practice. There's such good people here. It's one of the best countries on earth, in my opinion. It's far greater than any Western country. All of them combined, it's greater than all of them combined, in my opinion. So may Allah bless Malaysia. Come here and visit, and come here and you'll find amazing guidance if you're looking for it. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi.